as we go, what we're going to do is we're going to start by putting 3 bolts in. There's a zillion holes. You don't have to fill all of them. But we kind of, for the sake of getting started, we do top, middle, and bottom, and we're just going to put them in loosely, just to kind of hold it all together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of arguments as to which ones you're supposed to bolt and all of that, and everyone's got their own theory as to which is better, which is stronger. And so here's an interesting thing. Because the way we construct, you'll see, we use tons of cement and tons of material, versus if you're building volume pools and you're trying to build quick, low margins, you want to use as minimal material, as minimal as footing, minimal everything that you can. So some of this stuff becomes critical. Like, oh, did I bolt up here? So logically, it would make sense that if you bolted up here versus back here, it would be a stronger bond because it's holding the front together. And in an argument where you're trying to use minimal amount of materials, it makes sense. For us, what you'll see is all we need them to do is stay together. We're going to flood so much concrete in here, plus then we backfill and then we pour all concrete up here. So by the time we've done all that, it's not going anywhere. But if you were just putting it's called a bond beam along the bottom, the cement that goes down there, if you were putting just enough to hold it together because you're building on margin, well then all these details are incredibly important. For me, because of how we build, and we're way overbuilders versus underbuilders, not nearly as much of an issue. No, actually, what we need to do is lift right up in the middle here. So come on over here and just kind of lift up for me. And as you lift those up in the middle, you see it goes together. So the other thing we do, and again, there's varying opinions as to whether it's important, is nut on one side, nut on the other, and then nut back. Again, everybody's got a little different opinion as to whether that matters or not. Now, also, if this was a traditional pool, well, in this particular case, we can tighten this one, but a lot of times what we'll do is we'll put it all together and then tighten it. But because we don't have to redo these particular panels, we can go ahead and tighten them. So what you do is, what you're looking for is level across the top, makes sense, and then level down, look down the face of it. You can see it's nice and tight, they're nice and straight. So do me a favor and just tighten those up. You have the ratchet end on that one, so that makes it easier. So just tighten that top one up for me. And then go ahead and, let me kick the bottom just a little bit. Go ahead and tighten the bottom one. You don't normally use both. If you use both, if you just, if you hold one with one, sometimes they work like yours just did, but a lot of times hold one with one and then. And really, you can horse them as tight as you want. You'll snap the bolt if you tighten too tight. Again, because we're putting so much concrete and material in, not nearly as worried. Okay. If this was just a little bit of cement holding this in, the tightness of these bolts would matter. You'd want to, make sure you're getting it down to the micrometer or, specific width. So that's the goal right there. And each one, that one, it's pretty close. See, these panels go like this a little bit, so we're not super worried about it. Again, if we're building a really traditional vinyl, simple pool, you would want to make sure that was perfectly level because you're coping as a long strip. We're putting stone on top. Gotcha. Because we're putting stone on top, the stone's going to vary, and that gives us, so we're not nearly as critical and worrying about these as some people would be.